There's often, when there's not an obvious physical difficulty, people don't have as much patience or understanding for people, and that's something as Headway we're trying to do, is raise awareness of the hidden disability that brain injury can often be. Now, we have some individuals who come to us and haven't been to town for 10 years, for example. Now, one big thing that we will do is, as a group, say, right, let's all go together. And one individual came to us, hadn't been for 10 years since her brain tumour was removed. We went to town, we had a cup of tea. She was ever so nervous, but in that group environment, she had such a lovely time, and I saw her a couple of weeks later and she'd been in with her husband again. So that's the kind of power of being in a group environment and having the understanding that actually there's a lot involved. So going into shops where people are patient, people are kind, and people will take the time for people who may have certain difficulties, for example, speech difficulties. Take time to listen to people, don't rush people. We have people who have a Headway brain injury card, and we encourage them to use that when they're out in the community. So if they do have any difficulties in the community, when they're out by themselves or they're out with family members, and they may come into some kind of trouble articulating themselves or getting flustered or quite anxious, we encourage them to get their Headway card out. And what it says is, I am a survivor of a brain injury. I may have problems with my memory, speech or actions. Your help and patience would be appreciated. And we're finding this a really valuable tool for people to use in the community, to encourage them to feel that they can go out by themselves, and if they do have any difficulties, then they can use this card to help them.
But when I go out and again in amongst the community, I go to my bank, and when I go up there to change some money or whatever, they talk to me, they speak to me, I shout over to Linda, I shout over here to somebody else. I've always been friendly at the bank, brilliant. And even when I'm now going to Beausejour for some urgent therapy for my leg. But I stay an hour, and the people there are tremendous. We chat and talk and everything, and they give me a special card. I just laugh, and we have a laugh. I enjoy my life that way. It's turned around completely. Going to the bank, going to Beausejour, it's one of two things that make me part of the community, that live for myself, but I live also for everybody. And I'm glad that I'm going, because it shows them that I'm doing as well as I can be, and that I'm out and about and enjoying myself.
And people talking to you one-to-one, if they can, looking at you a little slower, I think, rather than anything else. I think men's voices are very often easier because they're at a lower level, they're deeper, and women's voices are softer. So if you can, yes, look at somebody as opposed to turning away and carrying on, because people do that a lot. They carry on, start a speech, and wander off, and you've lost it.
There are lots of places that say they've got loop systems, but when you actually ask about it, you find that they haven't got them turned on. They've actually got no idea how they work. What really doesn't help somebody with a hearing loss is talking really slowly and loudly like that. Doesn't work at all. You just need to speak naturally, slow down a bit, maybe a little bit more volume, but not too much really. It doesn't help. That doesn't help at all. And if somebody's lip reading you, they may think that you're angry. If your facial gestures start to get very intense, they might think you're angry with them. So actually just relax, speak a little bit more slowly, and raise your voice slightly, and that probably will help quite a bit.
I think just be a bit patient. If you're having to repeat yourself and you're not facing that person, that is a key indicator. Sometimes some people talk really fast, you've got to slow down a little bit. But there is a balance between, and it is hard not to be patronising by saying, hello, can you hear me? There's a balance of just slowing down and did you understand what I said? And if they're If you've asked someone, it's a very British thing when someone says, sorry, what's your name? And you ask 3 times and then you go, okay. But if someone's not hearing you, just write it down for them. Oh, here's my business card, or do something to help them. And choose email as a first form of communication. And if you really need to telephone them, then yeah, telephone them. If I met you in the bar for the first time and I was struggling to hear, I would ask you to face me. If we're in a bar and you've got a menu, put the menu down, so I could, which is a very common thing. People go, oh, this looks nice. What? I can't say that. And yeah, so face me, talk a bit louder, and if it's a particularly noisy part of the bar, maybe ask for a table in the corner where the vibrations don't bounce off the walls, if that makes sense.
Yes.
When you're in a taxi, because I lip read people, and taxi drivers are very sociable, lovely people, but they're obviously looking at the road and they're talking, but I need to lip read them in their wing mirror, not their wing mirror, so their rear mirror, and I can't hear what they're saying. It's really embarrassing, but they're great. They're very, you just say sorry. I lip read people, and they're fine. They talk a bit louder, and it's always about football, isn't it? So yeah, that really helps. And likewise, if I'm driving and I've got people in the back, same thing. I need to see you in the mirror to be able to hear what you're saying. Certainly, local businesses, it's getting much better in Guernsey, but a big plus for me is being able to book a restaurant online. Because when you phone a restaurant, typically there's loads of background noise. They're in the kitchen, or there's background music in that one. If they can set it up that I can email you, amazing. That would be really helpful. And that's not just for restaurants, that's all businesses. An option to email would be really, really good.
So I struggle with noise and things, but people are not going to realise that. So I might be sitting in a situation that most people are quite comfortable with, whereas I'm being bombarded by sound, lights, other sensory things that might be going on. So already before anything's happened, I'm feeling quite anxious, but that is not going to be visible to other people. With general interactions with people, eye contact is a very uncomfortable thing for me, so I tend not to look at them. I might just glance at them a little bit. But if eye contact is forced, or I do end up making eye contact, then I find it hard to look away. So my eyes will kind of get locked on theirs. I'll then get increasingly panicky and anxious. I may well start talking gibberish and not making sense. I know I'm doing that. The other person realises I'm doing it. That fuels the anxiety, so it gets harder and harder. So actually letting me not make eye contact and just look away from the person will actually allow me to concentrate and listen to what they're saying. If I have to look at them, I'm less likely to take in what they've said.